Oke, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Thanks God that today we can meet again in the course in the subject of English for tourism. And today we are going to listen the student presentation. Yes, the three students who will present the PowerPointers. Firstly, Sita Laisa, and then Vidya Rukmana, and lastly, M. Rio Novandana. Starting our lecture today, let's we reciting together Basmalah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Okay, I think I would like to give opportunity. The first presenter is Sita Laisa. Sita, time is yours in 5 to 7 minutes, please.
Okay, maybe Aulia can help me to share the PPT. Okay.
Okay, Sita.
Yes. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Sita Laisa. Here I will present about the Gunung Padang megalithic site. This site is a cultural heritage in the form of the largest punden berundak in Indonesia. This punden berundak is one of the cultural heritage that describe prehistoric human behavior around 3000 until 2000 BC years ago. Located in Cianjur Regency and Campaka District and Karyamukti Village, this Gunung Padang site is the form of a staircase or punden berundak. Let us see what we have in Gunung Padang site. It consists 5 terraces, and the first terrace there is named Gunung Masikit, consisting a whole gong symbol and the gamelan symbol. The gamelan symbol used to tell the sound of music which is come out from Gunung Padang night. And go up, we have batu chairs that where the place where you can see the direction of Gede Mountain and the place for discussion. And there are cave stone and footprint stone. And the third terrace, we can find Kujang relief and Mount Palm. And the fourth terrace, we have Kanuragan stone. Before there used to be myth that if you want to go up or success, you have to carry the stone. And the last, in the fifth terrace, there is the king's throne, the circle of Sunan Ambu, Sunan Rama, and there is the Pandaringan. The Pandaringan is the place to see the astrology. The peak area, Gunung Padang site, is about 4,000 meters. In the middle is called the nipple of the earth or pusar bumi. And the prohibition for the visitor is do not sit on the upright stone. And of course, it's a very attractive tourist destination. The main attraction of this Gunung Padang site is because its arrangement consists a series of a rectangular stone in the form of punden berundak terrace building. And there is relics of prehistoric times. It's thought to be a place worshipped in ancient times. That's it about the Gunung Padang site, which is can be attractive tourist destination in Cianjur. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Italisa. Your presentation is 4 minutes. Okay, it's much better. Well, the next presenter is Widya Rupana. Widya, that is yours in 5 to 7 minutes, please.
Okay, so okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Widya Rupana. Here I will explain about the Indonesia Postal Museum. The Indonesia Postal Museum is located in West Java, more precisely in the city of Bandung. The Indonesia Postal Museum was built on July 27, 1920. This museum was designed by Engineer J. Berger and led Gasworth with a typical Italian architectural presentation during the Renaissance. The Indonesian Postal Museum building has existed since the Dutch as in this area, which was previously named Post, Telegram, and Telephone, or VTT. VTT was established in 1931 until finally the Ministers of Tourism Ahmad Tahir changed its name to the Indonesian Postal Museum in 1983. The Indonesian Postal Museum display collection in the three major themes, namely the historic collection, philatelic collection, and postal service support equipment collection. The Indonesian Postal Museum display a variety of stamps from Indonesia. Okay, next. Facility of the Indonesian Postal Museum. 1. Gadget with audio tour guide. This facility was first held in 2013. 2. Stamp collection room. The stamp collection is displayed on a wooden board framed by a glass frame. However, there are some postage stamps placed on the album. 3. Historic object collection room. In this room, there are precious objects as to support the postal process, namely in the form of postal, scale, stamp, calculating machine, floor plans, map, binding machine, bag, storing racks, miniature postal transportation equipment, letters, chatters, type, civil right, old bicycle as by postman, and many others. 4. Area of the golden letters of the King of the Archipelago. In the section, there is a room that displays golden letters, namely letters from Persian King of the Archipelago to the commanders and general of the Netherlands. The golden letter is a historical record of the development of letter in country. That's all I can say. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Widya Rupana. The last presenter is M. Rio Novandana, MPO, type issue in 5 to 7
sir.
minutes.
I will do share screen. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Rio Novandana, and now I will presentation about see the beauty and history in Bosha Observatory. So the Boscha Observatory was construction of observatory motivated by Netherlands Indische Vereniging, or NISV, or the Dutch East Indies Astronomical Association, which at its first meeting it was decided to build an observatory in the Dutch East Indies. So this observatory was built in 1923, which is the establishment of the observatory, and it was complete for 5 years in 1928. And then in 1933 is the first international publication of the Boscha Observatory, and it stopped operating because of World War II, and it's operated again in 1951, which is a handover from observatory by NISV to the Indonesian Republic. And then in 1957 the observatory is part of IITB. So the reason why it's called Boscha is because it's from Karel Albert Rudolf Boscha, which is a landowner of the Malabarati Plantation, who found the construction of the observatory and was willing to buy binoculars because of his service. The observatory was named the Boscha Observatory. So in this occasion, maybe Boscha is one of the biggest payer for this observatory, which is by some binoculars, which is some of telescope that here the telescope, maybe as you can see. So the telescope is by Boscha, so it's named Boscha because the telescope, the biggest telescope, is by Boscha. So what things that have been seen by Boscha Observatory? The first one is double star research. The ZEISS double reflection telescope is a spatial telescope used to examine the stars. So there's one telescope named the ZEISS double refractor telescope is found, and it's found to research about stars. And the second is Hilal observation system. Hilal is appearance of young sickle, which is usually intended to see the beginning of the month of Ramadan. So the third is occultation, is an object that covers another celestial body. In this case, research can be done with high accuracy. So the fourth is exoplanet, is a planet that orbits another star. Since 1995, 319 planets have been discovered. And then the last is digitizing photography plate. And previously, celestial objects needed to be photographed and then investigated. But after being replaced by digital sensors, the plate was no longer used. So maybe that was my presentation for today. Thank you. And Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Andrea Novandana. Well, ladies and gentlemen, my students, particularly for other students, starting from now, please you make the brief comment to sending to the WhatsApp group, okay? Not until me and Ibu Diani making the brief comment. So for other students, please preparing for make the brief comment and what is to one to your student presenter, not all student presenter. You making the comment, the brief comment. Okay, we would like to brief comment also directly to the student presentation. I think Budiani, time is yours for making the brief comment, please.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, Bapak Suwirta. Okay, I have some notes from all the presenters, and the first one is for Sita Laisa. Okay, in terms of your performance, I guess you are a bit you cannot free yourself with your notes. So I see that you are still stick with your notes. So you can do and you cannot present your presentation or the material more relaxed. So it's a bit stiff and I consider that you could do more better than that. But in terms of substance or the content, you could deliver your presentation and your material quite good, because what you deliver, what you already delivered, I also recognize what you want to inform us about the sites, but in terms of your performance, I guess you could upgrade your performance. You could do better, and please try more relaxed. Okay, thank you very much, Sita Liza. And then the second presenter is Widya Aprianti. This is regarding the Postal Museum. Okay, it seems that from my point of view, from my stance, you only inform us. It seems that I feel that you inform us from the. I hear that you inform us likely from the flyer or the brochure, not from the content itself. So my expectations that you could deliver, or you could guide us, and you could approach us more about the collections. Because the postal also about the philatelists who it's addressing the people who like to collect the stamps and others, but so my expectation that you could deliver and inform us more about the collections instead of the how is the history about the postal museum itself. So you could inform us, and you could deliver about what kind of stamp that we had, and then what kind of stamp, that the uniqueness of different kind of stamp that we had in the postal museum. So that was my expectation, but it's okay. But in terms of performance, please, you could rehearse more about your presentation. It's okay. We need time to learn about English language, especially. So it's okay. So thank you very much, Widya Aprianti. And then the last one is, okay, I suddenly forgot your name. Okay, Rio Novandana. Okay, I'm sorry, Rio. So you are deliver about the Bosca Observatory. Okay, and I have some notes. So in terms of your performance, I assess that you could deliver your presentation quite well. So you have that talent to deliver, and then I could hear, and then I could assess that your articulation and your pronunciation is quite well. So it's above the average. So the thing is that in terms of your performance, you could deliver your presentation, try to be more relaxed. The point is try to be more relaxed. Okay, so because you have that good pronunciation and good articulation, so my expectation that you could do more relaxed. So pretend that you are a really educator, that in field you have to have some soft skill, and you could have some skill to be seen as a friendly educator. So please, you can step aside with your stiffness. So be friendly with everyone as an educator. So overall, thank you very much for your presentation, Rio, and then keep up the good work. Thank you, Bapak Suwirta.
Okay, thank you, Ibu Diani, for very valuable comment. I think it is important for my students to concern with Ibu Diani comment. Good. Well, I would like to make the comment also. I think it is important to note here that each presenter should be aware that in this presentation, you are not only want to find out about the uniqueness about the object, as Budiani said, okay, but also what is relevant today, this heritage. I think it is very important. So a historical site or tourism habitat is not only uniqueness for her own self, but also should be relevant with the currently situation. Because of that, I think it is will make the interesting for the what is a visitor or tourist from abroad. Please remember that our audience, our stakeholder is not local tourists, but the overseas tourists. Okay, I think it is very important. Okay, I would like to ask also to my student one by one. Sita Lisa, have you ever gone to Gunung Padang? Right?
Yes, ever.
Okay, good. Please, you what is go directly? Okay, when directly, what is this is just example. A teacher explain about the Borobudur temple, but he or she didn't went to the Borobudur temple. I think it is not good. Okay, okay, Sita, but I think for the foreign tourists or visitor, your explanation is there are many confused with the local language. Okay, maybe they didn't understand what your terminology. Okay, for example, Gunung Padang. What is Gunung Padang? Please explain what does it mean? What is Batu Maung? What is Kijang, Kanuragan, Masigit, Gamelan, Sunan Ambu, Sunan Rama? I think okay for Sundanese people understand what you're explaining, but for the tourists from abroad, I think what are the terminology they didn't understand, and if someone didn't understand, not interesting what you're explaining. Okay. Secondly, maybe you should explain also about the concept of continuity and discontinuity in history, because as you mentioned that uh, Gunung Padang site, maybe Padang mountain site, Padang mountain site is the heritage in 2000, 3000 years ago. Okay, it is similar with the Prophet Musa period. But you're explaining terminology. There's the Hindu name, Hindu period. For example, Rama, Sunan Ambu, Gamelan, Wayak, and so on and so forth. So maybe there's the continuity concept between the prehistoric Hindu Buddha period, maybe Islam period, and until so you should be explain also about the continuity and saying about the Gunung Padang site. Okay, you not only explaining about the 2000 and 3000 years old. Yeah, I think it is not relevant. But what the relevant this Gunung Padang site to the currently situation, particularly also maybe for the foreign visitor or tourists want to know more about the uniqueness terminology in Sundanese terminology and what does it mean in the currently situation. Okay, including also the function. Okay, so I think it is very important to explaining related to the some terminology in Sundanese language to be understood in the what is universal terminology. Okay, Widi, I think your title is redundant. Okay, knowing postal history through the Indonesian Postal Museum in postal office. postal. Okay, yeah, you so redundant. You know redundant. So making the interesting title should be softly but interestingly. I think it is very important. Okay, if you mention about the postal, please not mention again about the postal. It is knowing postal history through the Indonesian Postal Museum. Postal. Okay, I think my comment is similar with Ibu Diani. You should concentrate with the what kind of interesting in the museum collection, particularly in the stamp collection. You don't more explaining about the history of postal museum. I think from the Dutch colonial government to the current, I think it is not too interesting for the visitor or a tourist. But what the, for example, stamp collection. For example, in the time of Dutch colonialism, in the stamp, who picture in that stamp? Usually, the stamp, a picture in the stamp is the king, president, or prominent leaders. So if we want to know about the prominent leaders in the time of the Dutch colonial government, in the time of the early Indonesian Republic, and so on and so forth, maybe we can see in the picture in the stamp. Okay, so the collection of stamps should be analyzed and should be shown to the audience, to the stakeholder. It is, if we want to know more about the history of our leaders, prominent leaders, each period, we can see the picture in the stamp, in the collection of stamps. Okay, you should explore about the collection of stamps, because if you just what is explaining the history of postal museum, blah blah blah, I think it was interesting and not too relevant with the current situation, and particularly for the stakeholder for the abroad visitor. Okay. Okay, and where also exactly this this postal museum in Bandung, in Gedung Sate, okay? In Gedung Sate or in Asia Africa? You didn't explaining about exactly position about this postal museum, okay? Have you ever gone also to this museum, Widya? Have you ever gone to this museum?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so directly it should be good to the postal museum, okay? Because including also see about the stamp collection. Maybe that's interesting what the picture in the stamp, okay, from the Dutch colonial period, maybe in Japanese occupation, in the early republic, in the democracy liberal period, in guided democracy period, in New Order period. Because when I live in the New Order government period, the picture of President Soeharto also in the stamp, okay? Maybe the President of Sukarno also in the stamp in the time of guided democracy. So there should be analysis so that to understand about the prominent leaders, history of prominent leaders in Indonesia, we can also using the stamp collection. Okay, lastly for Rio Novandana, I think my comment also similar to Diani. You are good performer. Your pronunciation is very well, and but please also ensure in explaining about the Bosa Observatory. It's not only the history of Bosa breeding, okay, but also the function, the relevant this Bosa Observatory to our situation now. For example, you said, because if you just explaining about the history of Bosa, this is the history of transfer of power from the colonialist scientists to the native people science. Because the Bosa Observatory is heritage or created by the colonial Dutch colonial scientists, okay? Although the Bosa may be from Germany and so on and so forth, but it is built in the time of Dutch colonial government in 1920s, 1930s, okay? Because of that, it is important to us to explaining what the currently function of Bosha Observatory. You said about the Bosha telescope is for identifying the star, okay, in the sky. Maybe the star is too far in distance. Why not concentrate also to identify, to research about our moon? Moon, do you know bulan? Not only star. How are the moon condition in the moon record? Bulan siapa sih? Bulan purnama. I think Bosa is to concentrate into star. Star is, there are many stars in the sky, but how our moon exactly condition our, it is maybe should be please imagine if the tourists from abroad ask to you why the Bosha didn't search about the moon. Maybe you cannot answer also the question from the visitor. Okay. Lastly, you also said that Bosha can identify and also makes the decision about the what we call as the hilal observation. Okay. But until now, why the Islamic Ummah, Islamic people, Umat Islam in Indonesia, still confused and debatable when we started in Ramadan month and when we finish in Ramadan month, still debatable. Why not using the Bosha Observatory as the single decision? Okay, so maybe it is not exactly function of the Bosha, particularly in decide the early Ramadan and the last Ramadan. Okay, according to government, we will start Ramadan at the what is 1 April or 2 April, but according to Muhammadiyah and NU, 3 April. So different between the government and the community. I think it is important to note here the role of Bosha Observatory to decide. It is exactly what is calculation based on the science, not based on the what is belief. Okay, so again, overall, I think please ensure that in explaining about the historical site or tourism heritage should be explaining not only the characteristic, the uniqueness about this object, but also its function, it's relevant to our life currently or today. Okay. However, your presentation today is good, and please ensure that you should be confident, okay, that you can explaining about your object. Not like Sita and Vidya just reading, okay. Rio is good. You can explaining something. Pronunciation also okay. What is important is particularly for me, if I was talking about someone or audience understand what I was talking about, I think it is very important. Okay, but your pronunciation is very good, and please other student also should be learn together how we can explaining something clearly, and also should be relevant with the function and what is the concept of continuity as discontinuity in history is very important to us in explaining something. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. I think it is enough, and let's ending our lecture today by reciting together also Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Amin. Inshallah, we will meet again in next week with different topic. Thank you very much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Thank you,
warahmatullahi
Mr. Swirta. Thank you, Mrs. Dian.
Okay, you're welcome.
Lahir batin ya.
Okay. Okay, we can learn from this Zoom, okay?